how crowded is Malta? And it's a question I don't think there's a strict answer to, but I'd like to hear your opinion, because our population in 2023 was up by 31% since the 2000s, early 2000s. And now the new number just came out, which is 588,000.
That's the last figure I heard.
It sounds, I believe, not too good to be true. But do you honestly believe that number?
Well, you have an amount of undeclared people, because a lot of them are being deported when they're caught. But I don't have reason to believe that there's much more. It feels much more, because that is the local population, local and foreigners as well. But it does not include the amount of tourists that you have here every day.
Roaming around the streets.
Roaming around the streets, especially.
I think we forget that, huh?
We forget that completely.
I don't think we calculate it.
Let me tell you to what extent, because this was mind-blowing, especially, again, someone like me, because of age, can compare all the time the past and can see the whole picture where we are today. I mean, this year only, January, we saw more tourists than we saw in August of 2012. Can you imagine August, the peak month, in January? January, our hotels way back used to close. In winter, they used to close, or they used to keep their staff literally to do all the maintenance, plumbing and painting and God knows what.
Waiter used to go and paint the walls.
Exactly. Today, there's no way they're going to do that. It's already very difficult to find a waiter to work. So imagine. Now, I've seen all this happen. I mean, I remember the days when the postman and the nurse, literally, I'm going back at least about 30 years, even more, used to come and beg me for a part-time job to come and work at the weekend, to top up their salary, to work as a waiter or a kitchen hand, everything, even as a cleaner, whatever. You know, from the postman to your nurse to your I don't know what. Imagine, today, it's very, very difficult to find, so to say, the lower category of work. Now, this is all an improvement, obviously, you know, and a lot of people say this is another, the usual, what you see on Facebook, oh, because they don't pay, They don't pay. I guarantee you, first of all, today there are a lot of regulations. And obviously, a job is paid for what it is. You're not going to get a waiter being paid as much as a manager, but a lot of the jobs that were done by waiters today are working in supermarkets, are working as drivers. You see, they've moved up the chain, and they're being paid more. But again, the shortages are everywhere. If you look at the whole workforce, literally, the shortages are everywhere, from accountants, labourers, everything, plasterers, plumbers, electricians. It's not only in tourism, it's everywhere, because the economy is vibrant, you know, in every aspect. But again, going back, regarding all these amount of figures and population, I believe that if we tweak slowly but surely, and this is part of managing our growth, we'll manage to contain the amount of foreigners that come to Malta. We already are containing it to a certain extent, but we have a lot more to do. So that will solve one problem slowly, and we can become more efficient when it comes to also our well-being index. Because there's no doubt about it, over-tourism has changed the whole lifestyle in Malta. Now, when we talk about over-tourism, what is under-tourism, I will ask, because it's very easy to say over-tourism. If we're going to talk about under-tourism, what are we saying? Are we going to retrench the amount of tourists, and then we're going to have a lot of hotels closing and unemployment and God knows what, and the economy is going to contract? Or are we going to manage what we have in a more efficient way, having a better transport system, having a better managed, distributed occupancy rate of tourists that is already happening? Before, all the tourists, as I was saying, when hotels used to close in winter, because tourists used to come only in the 3 months of summer, now they come all the year round. So that's already an improvement. A lot of the dead months we had are all working beautifully. And ironically, a lot of the highest type of tourists comes in winter for conferences, I mean, it's fair to say, there's a lot say, oh, all they're spending is what, 150 euros. These youths, they come for 3 days. Yes, there could be some youths that come and spend 150 euros in the peak of summer. As I said, the lower denominator, and hopefully that will eliminate slowly. But there are others. I mean, these conferences, very easy. They leave anything between 3 to 4 and 5,000 per head when a conference happens. Doesn't mean they're spending them on champagne and food, but the whole cost with all their lodgings and all the whole setup of the conference. I mean, just like parties, there are parties and there are parties. I know parties in 4 days that left something like 12 million without causing any problem. And they're all a younger generation. In other words, we're talking about 25-year-olds, not the 50-year-old market, 25 to 35-year-olds. This generation has created a lot of wealthy people that it took a whole lifetime for people from my generation, the tech industry. I mean, I know and I've met so many in iGaming and the tech industry that come here for conferences. They're all already, I mean, you talk to them, I mean, they have like 10 million in cash under their head besides investments, and they're really young. You know, I mean, in my generation, I'm telling you, most people don't see that amount of money unless they're in business, and some of them had a head start because their parents were in business and they inherited a business. Others started from scratch as well. And others, you know, never made it. They remained in the employment road. Many of them didn't have an entrepreneurial character because it takes a lot. You know, there are other people. My father was a civil servant. When I told him I'm going in business, he thought I was crazy. He was the sort of person who believed in working with the government, have a steady job. At the end of the day, you know, you go home, enjoy your family, the next day you go to work, and that's it. When you're in business, literally you're working 7 days a week, 24 hours. And many a time you have to feed your staff, cover all your expenses. And then if there's anything left, that's when you get paid. I know I've been through it. I've seen the highs and lows of business. You know, I've seen you make money, then you lose it, then you're a bit over-ambitious, you know, and you try. I'm one of those that was over-ambitious in the end, you know, and in the end it didn't work out because I had expanded too much the size of the business at the time, and I lost my position in the market. So, you know, it's not always a success story. I keep repeating this all the time. Some people are very romantic about it, and they think, you know, they see business people driving a nice car or living in a luxurious apartment, and they think it's all about that. It isn't, and especially in Europe, not in America. In Europe, if you don't make it, the system doesn't help you to recover.